everybody. I'm Ed Robinson, and welcome to the season premiere of Striving for It All. This is the program that gets you caught up on anything and everything happening around the WNBA. Coming up on this edition of the program, we'll preview the 2024 WNBA season. Oh, yeah, and we'll talk about somebody by the name of Caitlin Clark and also some of the other young ladies that are that have entered the WNBA with the likes of Angel Reese, Kamilla Cardoso, and Cameron Brink, just to name a few. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the program. I want to start off with my top three storylines. I want to talk about women's college basketball. Within the last couple of years, women's college basketball has jumped leaps and bounds. It has taken on, it has earned enormous accolades with the likes of the names that I mentioned earlier: Angel Reese, Kamilla Cardoso, Cameron Brink, also Juju Watkins, Paige Beckers, Malaysia Fulwiley, just to name a few. Oh, yeah, and also somebody that was at the University of Iowa named Caitlin Clark. Women's college basketball broke massive records. The LSU-Iowa game, the 2023 Women's National Championship game, that set TV ratings records. Guess what? The rematch, LSU and Iowa 2024 in the Elite Eight in the NCAA Women's Tournament, that broke records as well. And also the national championship game between South Carolina and Iowa, that broke records as well. Women's college basketball has always been respected for decades, but this seemed to take leaps and bounds. And I'll give you some reasons, in my opinion, why it's that way. Number one, consistency. Not just within the last several years, but throughout the course of watching women's college basketball, you've always had consistency. When you watch UConn, you watch head coach Gino Auriemma and the countless stars that he's coached with the likes of a Rebecca Lobo, Swin Cash, also with Amaya Moore, Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi, just to name a few. And we're seeing that we're continuing with Paige Beckers in her career at UConn. Also, you saw it during the days of Tennessee with Pat Summitt when she coached the likes of a Candace Parker, Tamika Catchings, just to name a few. You also saw it at LSU when you saw stars like Tamika Johnson and Simone Augustus, Sylvia Fowles, just to name a few. The consistency is there in women's college basketball. I think that's also a lot of credit to currently the economic means of the women's game, because a lot of them have to go overseas, and even with the WNBA being around since 1997, currently the economic means are still not there, but it's gotten a little bit better, but it can jump to a whole nother stratosphere, which I'll get to a little bit. But bottom line is this: the consistency. You get to grow with these players. We had a chance to grow with LSU for a few seasons with Angel Reese. We'll also continue to see it with Flau'jae Johnson. We also saw it with the University of Iowa, Caitlin Clark, during her time there. Also, we got to see Gabby Marshall, Kate Martin, just to name a few. Also, we saw it at South Carolina with Kamilla Cardoso during her time there. Aaliyah Boston. Also at UConn, we got a chance to see it with Aaliyah Edwards before she turned pro. Cameron Brink at Stanford. The consistency is there. We get an opportunity to grow with these young ladies and to watch the game and see rivalries develop in college sports. We don't see that in the men's college basketball game. I think what's hurt men's college basketball is the one-and-done rule and the transfer portal. 1 year, and they're entering the NBA draft. Not a lot of time for them to mature and develop, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally as well. As with the women's game, there's time for growth. There's consistency. We get a chance to grow and get a chance to watch these athletes develop and to flourish and to shine. So, number one, consistency. Also, number two, no one-and-done rule. Again, as I mentioned earlier, the WNBA, because of the economic means, currently they don't have the big contracts right now like the NBA, but again, that makes for great storylines in women's college basketball. It's just so fun. it's just so fun to watch what we've seen in the last several years with LSU and Iowa, South Carolina, USC, and an emerging star with Juju Watkins. This has been so much fun, and in my opinion, it's only going to get better because I know the NCAA is going to continue to take advantage of this. But with the one and done rule, it's ruined men's college basketball, and we don't really see them really develop it, coming to their own. We don't really get an opportunity to watch them grow. Whereas with the women's game, we get a chance to grow with them. We get an opportunity to see what they're made of and continue to see them develop on an athletic level. And then also, too, the transfer portal. I mean, one year there's a men's player that's at Duke. The next year they're at USC. The next minute they're at Texas Tech. The next minute they're at another school. And it's just like, wow, weren't you just at this place last semester? Now they're at another place this semester. Again, it goes back to the women's game, just the consistency and the flow that we get. And, man, women's college basketball is just a lot of fun. Man, I'm not showing my age, but I remember back in the day, the men's college basketball game was so much fun. Patrick Ewing, Hakeem Olajuwon, Grant Hill, those great Duke teams, the Fab Five with Michigan, UNLV, Villanova, so on and so forth. And now the women's game has really taken over. And, man, it's just a fun game to watch, just to see the fundamentals and just to see solid shooting. The defense is it's great, man. And we've really been blessed, especially the last several years, to experience women's college basketball with the names of an Angel Reese and a Kamilla Cardoso and Cameron Brink, and, of course, Caitlin Clark and the other young ladies that I've mentioned, and what we're going to see going forward with Paige Beckers and, of course, with Juju Watkins. Also, Tahina Powell is supposed to be coming back to South Carolina, so it's definitely big right now in women's college basketball. So my next storyline is going to be the 2024 WNBA Draft. So the WNBA Draft took place at the Brooklyn Academy of Museum in Brooklyn, New York. And this was the first time since the 2016 draft that fans were allowed to be in attendance. And I don't ever remember a draft being a WNBA draft ever being this hyped up like that. We've seen stars like Candace Parker and Amaya Moore and Simone Augustus. Even in least with the first draft in 97 with Lisa Leslie, Rebecca Lobo, and Cheryl Swoops. It's never been anything like this. And this 2024 class could change the game, and I think it will change the game. I'll get into all of that in just a little bit. But as I stated earlier, the 2024 WNBA Draft was, you could have asked for a better draft class. Number 1 overall, Caitlin Clark, going to the Indiana Fever. Cameron Brink, number 2 overall, going to the Los Angeles Sparks. Also, Kamilla Cardoso, the 3rd pick, going to the Chicago Sky. Rakia Jackson, in 4th, going to the Los Angeles Sparks. J.C. Sheldon, 5th overall, going to the Dallas Wings. Then you had Aaliyah Edwards, drafted by Washington. In Chicago, they hit another gold. They drafted another gem with getting Angel Reese. And then Elisa Pili going to the Minnesota Lynx. Carla Lett going to the Dallas Wings. Layla Lacan going to the Connecticut Sun. Marquisha Davis going to the Liberty. And also Nadu Pouch headed to the Atlanta Dream. And, man, you had some heavy hitters in this WNBA draft. Nika Mule out of Croatia played for UConn, going to the Seattle Storm. Celeste Taylor going to the Indiana Fever. Daisha Fair going to the Las Vegas Aces. Kate Martin, man, she was the glue behind that University of Iowa team, headed to the Las Vegas Aces, man. So we had some heavy hitters that was drafted in this year's WNBA draft. And certainly, hey, the hoopla, I thought it was well-deserved, and I think it's going to be great for what is to come, and that's going to be my next storyline, what this draft means going forward. So the 2024 WNBA Draft, I think this is the most impactful draft so far in the young history of the league. This is the opportunity where the WNBA can really take advantage of the talent and what they have right now. Right now, they're riding a high off the back of women's college basketball. Larry Bird and Magic Johnson saved the NBA in a time when the league was undergoing so many problems, so much financial, gone under a lot of financial duress, a lot of problems with the players getting in trouble. Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, they come into the league. We know about their history. They played each other the following year in the national championship game. They both wound up being in the same draft class. They saved the NBA in the 80s. This could be a moment where this draft class could save the WNBA. And what I mean by saving the WNBA is that the league has never made a profit. Every year the NBA has incentivized the league. Every year the NBA has put money into the WNBA. The WNBA has never made a profit. They've always operated in the red. But if the league is doing it right, and so far so good, we've seen a star by the name of Caitlin Clark selling out games, regular season games, preseason games have been sold out as well, no matter where she's gone. So far, so good. This could be the catalyst where the WNBA can stand on its own and say, okay, we're turning the corner. We don't necessarily need the NBA to fund us, but they've got to get it right. And again, the WNBA has always been great in terms of talent. The one thing that has hurt them from getting over that hurdle is marketability towards women. They have been so inefficient in marketing towards women. If they could just get that down pat and get women to watch the WNBA, really the sky is the limit. And you can get money coming in and you don't have to operate in the red anymore. But this is a golden opportunity for the WNBA to really take that leap and to not be in the red anymore. I mentioned earlier about the Larry Bird, Magic Johnson NBA deal. Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, white, black, one from the East Coast, one from the Midwest. I mean, so many storylines that you can have with Caitlin and Angel. Also, too, Kamilla Cardoso and Angel Reese are going to be teammates in Chicago and Indiana. Chicago and Indianapolis, I should say, short distances. You can have a rivalry right there, a really good rivalry with the Sky and the Fever. I mean, this is about as good as it gets right now, and the WNBA has an opportunity to really take that. I mean, they could take two giant leaps, but they're going to have to do it with the marketability to women and also to the public relations. They really have to get on it, and so far so good. Again, Caitlin Clark, you know, like I guess as you could say, just lightning in a bottle, right? Come in the right place at the right time. She was so fun to watch during her time at the University of Iowa, and I have no doubt she's going to be fun to watch in the WNBA, as well as the other players that are in her draft class, as well as the current class that's in the WNBA, right? I mean, what's not to love about the Las Vegas Aces? I'll get into them in just one moment with an opportunity to three-peat, but man, this is the WNBA's got a golden opportunity. The public relations team, they've been hard at work. They can continue to be hard at work because the regular season's right around the corner. And certainly this draft can mean a lot going forward in terms of getting more money, in terms of the possibility. I know the city of San Francisco is supposed to get a WNBA team, I believe, in the next couple of years or something like that. But this could really open the door in terms of more expansion for teams, but it begins and ends with this draft class, with Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Kamilla Cardoso, and the draft class in 2024. It has to happen with this class, and so far so good. The ticket sales have gone up. I was hearing some numbers about the jersey sales have gone up as well for Caitlin Clark, so this could be it. I think this could be the wake-up call for the WNBA to no longer operate in the red, and it could be a jumpstart for increasing player salaries. As I stated earlier about the possibility of more teams getting into expansion, that would certainly be interesting. And those are my top three storylines. And certainly, man, it's a lot happened the last couple of years in women's college basketball, and especially with the WNBA draft that just passed. And then we've got teams getting ready for the regular season. Preseason is here, and man, it's a lot of fun. And then this draft could make or break the league. And I really believe that it's going to make the league. I think the interest is there, not just with men, but most importantly amongst women as well. I think the interest is definitely going to be there. So we shall see. So far, so good. It's a lot of fun. And before we just kind of go into detail about some of the teams that are expected to do some great things for this season, I just want to mention about her announced her retirement. I mean, what can you say about Candace, right? She played for 3 teams in the league, the Los Angeles Sparks. She also played for the Minnesota Lynx. I'm sorry, not the Minnesota Lynx, the Los Angeles Sparks, the Chicago Sky, and the Las Vegas Aces. 3-time champion, also was a Rookie of the Year, 2-time league MVP, multiple All-Stars, All-NBA selection, also was on several Olympic teams. I mean, what's not to love about Candace, right? I mean, she certainly did her thing, was a pioneer. I mean, people talk about Caitlin Clark, and they were saying that she's the GOAT. I mean, Caitlin Clark, no disrespect, Caitlin Clark is one of the GOATs. She's not the GOAT, but she's one of the GOATs. She's one of the GOATs. And Candace Parker, look, people forget about, I mentioned Simone Augustus, but Candace Parker was also doing her thing as well, being recognized by Sports Illustrated, being through Gatorade and a McDonald's All-American and things of that nature. I mean, what's not to love about Candace, right? Multiple, winning 3 WNBA championships, a WNBA Finals MVP, winning a couple of gold medals, storied career in college at Tennessee. Man, it definitely CP is definitely going to be missed, but certainly she's somebody that's she's already got a solid broadcasting career, so she's definitely going to continue with that. Could it be coaching? I don't know if it'd be coaching, but certainly she's doing her thing in the broadcasting world, and they're definitely going to continue to do things in the world of business. Also, Epiphany Prince announced her retirement from the WNBA. Again, Epiphany played for 4 teams during the time in the WNBA, specifically playing for the New York Liberty, also playing for the Seattle Storm and the Las Vegas Aces. She won a title with the Storm in the bubble year, or the Wubble year in 2020, and also was an All-Star twice. So, again, congratulations to Epiphany, and wish her the best in her retirement. Also, some other retirements to pass along to you. Tiffany Hayes announced her retirement. She played for the Atlanta Dream, and also spent time with the Connecticut Sun. Also, Jasmine Thomas announced her retirement as well, and then Tiana Hawkins announced her retirement. So a lot of goodbyes that we had during this off season. It certainly makes the way for the current and the future with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and so on and so forth. So that takes care of our retirements on that. And just to give you a little preview of this upcoming season, we got to start with the Las Vegas Aces. They're at the peak of their powers right now. What can Becky Hammond do, right? What can Asia Wilson do? What can Jackie Young do? What about Kelsey Plum? What can't she do, right? I mean, Las Vegas, listen, the Aces, and then they've added Daisha Fair. They've also added Kate Martin. Kate Martin could be one of the big steals in this year's draft class. If you know about her time at the University of Iowa, she was like the coach on the court. She was considered the glue of the team and really had everybody going and being a master motivator. I can see that happening with Kate in her time with Las Vegas. And again, as I mentioned earlier, the cast of characters are back for Las Vegas. You've got Alicia Clark, one of the best defenders in the league, and Sydney Colson. You've also got Kia Stokes, who's just a ruthless defender, right? I mentioned Asia Wilson earlier. How about the walking buzzer beater herself, Chelsea Gray? Listen, Las Vegas, you can't go wrong with Las Vegas, right? Las Vegas, they're at the peak of their powers right now. 3-peat is definitely on the horizon, but they're going to have some stiff competition. The Chicago Sky, the duo, Angel Reese, Kamilla Cardoso. Hey, we know about Angel's game. We know about Camilla's game. That should be very interesting, and what they decide to do with those two, because, man, there's so many things that you can do with those two. Then you've got Marina Mabry, Michaela Onyenwere during her time with the New York Liberty. Diamond DeShields is back. You get Kennedy Carter. Izzy Harrison. So certainly it's Chicago's definitely, they got not one but two talented rookies. So this should certainly be interesting for the Sky. Atlanta's definitely somebody we need to keep our eyes on as well. The head coach of the Dream, Tanisha Wright, she always has her young ladies in true form. You've got Jordan Canada coming through in a trade from the Sparks. Then you signed Tina Charles. I mean, what's not to love about Tina, right? She's a walking bucket. And then you got Alicia Gray coming back, one of my favorites in the league. Destiny Henderson, very good as well. Ryan Howard. This is going to be interesting how Ryan plays out this year. And then you've also got Cheyenne Parker and Ariel Powers and Nia Coffey. So certainly the Dream are definitely going to have something to say about this year. The Los Angeles Sparks, the Sparks are going to be interesting. They got Cameron Brink, tall and long and always ready to play. You got Rakia Jackson out of Tennessee. She's a walking bucket as well. Then you've got Mackenzie Forbes, another rookie as well. And then you signed Monique Billings. Monique Billings, listen, if you hadn't had a chance to watch Monique during her time in Atlanta, she was like a rebounding second chance points machine. Monique, really good, can add a lot of elements to that squad for the Sparks. Then when you have, I mentioned with Jackson, and you have Brink, and then you got De'Erica Hamby, her time with Las Vegas, coming off the bench, very, very productive, bringing that championship experience. It's a lot that's going to be happening in L.A., man, and certainly when you got Brink and you got Billings in there, and of course Hamby right there. Hamby, a great two-way player, very good indeed. And the Minnesota Lynx, listen, Cheryl Reeve, you know what she brings to the table with the Lynx. She's been there for so long and just still consistent, still getting it done. Nafisa Collier, still one of the best in the business. Natisha Heidemann coming over from the Connecticut Sun. I mean, you just got Courtney Williams coming from the Chicago Sky. So certainly, and then you draft Elisa Peely, and then you've got Diamond Miller. Definitely was in the race for last year's Rookie of the Year. Unfortunately, losing in a close one to Ryan Howard, but Kayla McBride is also in the mix as well. So it's a lot going on with the Lynx this year, man. Definitely, the Lynx always come competitive, never a dull moment with Minnesota, with their history with Maya Moore, Simone Augustus, Sylvia Fowles. I mean, and then Katie Smith. So what more could you ask for with the Minnesota Lynx? The Connecticut Sun, Dewana Bonner, she's back. Alyssa Thomas, she's back as well. She's about as tough as they come. Brianna Jones coming back strong from that knee, that Achilles injury that she had. She's expected to be at her best as well. So Dejanay Carrington is expected to contribute more this year. Also Shea Petty as well. So they've got a nice squad. Connecticut's got a nice squad this year. You know, Connecticut, not built for speed, but they're a team that's built for power. They're a team that can, I call it grit and grind, like the old school Memphis Grizzlies. They're more like the grit and grind of the WNBA. The Dallas Wings, Arike Ogunbowale, the walking buzzer beater. I mentioned Chelsea Gray, the walking buzzer beater. Arike, she is a walking buzzer beater in her own right as well. I mean, the consummate floor general. And then you got Tiara McCowan. You've also got Natasha Howard, who's a defensive specialist. My goodness, you've also got Maddie Zegras. You drafted the rookie J.C. Sheldon. She's expected to do big things as well. And how about Satu Sabali, right? Satu, breakout year for her last year. Went through a ton of injuries, but she got really through it. And last year was really her breakout year. She's ready to take that leap, that next leap for her career, and especially going into this season for the Dallas Wings. So we've got the New York Liberty. What a year it was last year for the Liberty, playing in the WNBA championship, falling short to the Las Vegas Aces. But listen, Sabrina Ionescu at the peak of her powers right now. What can she do, right? You've also got Jonquel Jones, followed by Brianna Stewart. Hey, what's not to love about Stewie, right? I mean, just a walking bucket, just so efficient, so good. Betnijah Laney, very good as well. I mean, and Sandy Brondello coming back as the head coach of the of the Liberty, and then you've got Jonquel Jones. Listen, they got scores for days. And also Courtney Vandersloot, again, the ultimate floor general as well. So certainly they've got the Liberty. They're looking to make some noise this year, especially when you bring back Jonquel, and then you've got Brianna in the mix, and then Sabrina, and then Betnijah. I mean, Betnijah, definitely one of a kind, and definitely her game. She's continued to improve her game every year and continue to improve her stock in the W. Phoenix Mercury. So Phoenix hoping to be much better this year as opposed to last year. Very abysmal. However, Brittany Griner, after her unfortunate dealings that happened in Russia, we're going to have Brittany currently hurt right now, but Brittany, they'll have her at some point this year. But Diana Taurasi, she's currently hurt right now, but they're there's a team that's kind of in transition right now, but they did add Kalia Copper. They added Kalia Copper, who's a former WNBA champion with the Chicago Sky. Natasha Cloud, the ultimate floor general with the Washington Mystics. You've also got Rebecca Allen. How about Sophie Cunningham? Sophie is indeed a favorite amongst not just she's a favorite amongst basketball fans, male and female. So Sophie is definitely somebody. Don't let the looks fool you, because she is tough as they come. And then we've got the Washington Mystics. So with the Mystics, Elena Deladon, experience when she's healthy, she's one of the best. Stephanie Dolson, that could help too as well. I mean, getting points in the paint, helping out with the rebounding. Maisha Hines-Allen is a legit scorer. Also, Carly Samuelson does her thing as well. Ariel Atkins, you know what she brings to the table. And I think Shakira Austin, what a year she had last year. And Shakira is definitely somebody that's supposed to take that next step in her career. Now, you know, especially with the absence of Natasha Cloud going to Phoenix, I think Shakira is really going to step up her points and step up her production this year. The Seattle Storm. So the Seattle Storm, interesting for the Seattle Storm, they signed not only Skylar Diggins-Smith, they also signed Nneka Ogwumike, which was huge. You know about Nneka, former champion, multiple All-Stars, served as a member of the WNBA Players Association, leadership skills through the roof, and she can still ball, by the way, too. And then when you have the Gold Mamba, Jewel Lloyd. What's not to love about Jewel, right? And then Ezzie Magbagor, one of the best defenders in the league. And then you add Nika Mule, the rookie out of Connecticut. And then you've also got Mercedes Russell. I mean, this could be a bounce back year for Seattle. Last year was their first year without Sue Bird, but now Noelle Quinn looks to get the team going again. She looks to get the team going again and get back on their winning ways, because they kind of got over that period where it's like, okay, we miss Sue. We have to go through it. We have to mourn and take our loss. But guess what? I think this year is going to be totally different for the Seattle Storm. They'll be much better. And then, of course, finally, the Indiana Fever. So the Fever, big changes this year. They have a new head coach, Christy Sides, and they added some key players to their roster. Of course, Aaliyah Boston, certainly somebody that is a phenomenal talent within her own right. Kelsey Mitchell, super talented. Nalissa Smith, she's a talent in her own right. Erica Wheeler, one of the best defenders in the league. Lexi Hall is solid as well. And, of course, Caitlin Clark. And, man, Caitlin, listen, since she's arrived in Indianapolis, Fever season tickets have sold out. I mean, it has just been a feeding frenzy no matter where. It looks like this year, no matter where Caitlin is, the fans will be there. And certainly, so far, so good. It's the Caitlin Clark effect. And I talked earlier about Candace Parker, and Candace was the Caitlin Clark of her time. I mean, but I think what has helped Caitlin is social media and also other benefits like the NIL and the advertising. That really helps as well. And certainly, people say Caitlin's the GOAT, is the GOAT. I don't think so. Caitlin is one of the GOATs. Now, I will say Caitlin is the most impactful women's basketball player because of the internet, the social media, the digital media, the NIL, making a big difference. And certainly she's used that to her advantage. And certainly, I mean, it's been a feeding frenzy already since she's arrived in the WNBA, and especially since she's arrived in Indianapolis. Somebody that's is expected to do some major things, and not just her with the Indiana Fever, but most importantly, some of the people that I mentioned earlier. She's got a great roster with Aaliyah Boston and also Nalissa Smith, Kelsey Mitchell, just to name a few. So certainly it is going to be one heck of a season this year in the WNBA. As I stated earlier, it's going to be monumental, and this could be the make or break year for the W. Will they get it done? Only time will tell. That's going to do it for the season premiere of Striving for It All. Until next time, everybody, I'm Ed Robinson saying so long, and you take care.